Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Super Desperation Radio. As you might notice, I'm Lord Walkman. Hell Pockets isn't here at the moment. He had some other things to attend to.
Family stuff.
Yeah, considering, he now has a family.
That's weird to say.
Yeah. So, let me start off by introducing everyone. We have Manchest, Mecha MacGyver, Super Effects, and someone else, a friend of ours, Ayai-kun. We call her Kelly. I think that's her real name.
We call her Kelly. So do her parents. Sometimes.
No, I thought her parents called her douchebag.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's on my birth certificate.
So this weekend was, TFC, the Fall Classic. But before we get to that, there was an announcement for the EVO 2014, how it's going to be at the Las Vegas Hilton, which is slightly off the main strip, but not too far. And the biggest thing about it is that it's going to be on Xbox. So I guess all the whiners out there got their way, so I can't wait to hear the excuses that come up, next year. But I think that's kind of interesting. It's like, if they're gonna cry that much, like, oh, fine, we'll do it. But my real question is, it says Xbox, but did they mean 360?
That's the question.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of up in the air because what my question was going to be is, what does that mean? If it is 360, does that mean EVO is planning on getting a bunch of 360s cheap because of the new gen systems being released? Or do they have some kind of deal with Microsoft? Because that's how they got all the PS3s, is originally they had a deal with Sony of some regard.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Does that mean that it's more likely if they do have a deal with Microsoft, does that mean we're getting Killer Instinct?
I'm out.
Ooh, EVO. I don't know about this one.
So I still don't think they had a deal with Sony beforehand. I did talk to the Cannons and Seth Killian several times before many EVOs, and they would tell me about all the crap they would have to buy, how they'd have to go out and buy PS3s in bulk. They'd go out to different Best Buys and buy them out and shit. So, I mean, there's a possibility Sony helped out 1 or 2 of the years with, prize money, but I don't know if they actually gave them systems.
Okay. Well, and it could have been also, it could have been not even financials, it could have just been like a one-time gift of some systems.
That's true.
They got a couple controllers for free and suddenly they're sponsors.
Hey man, those controllers are expensive. I don't want to buy a new one. Somebody
This
walked
one's
out of my
wired.
house with one of my DualShock 3s and I haven't replaced it since.
You need to find that person. Give them
Yeah, I
stuff.
wish I knew who it was. I would have thrown them in front of a bus.
So,
All right. I really need to talk about this concern because I've brought it up before, and the whole topic of Xbox only Evo it's really bugging me now that you guys mentioned it again. Does this mean, if it is in fact going to be on the Xbone, that they're going to shoehorn in Killer Instinct?
You see, I feel like it's gonna have Killer Instinct, but I'm not sure if they're actually gonna use the Xbone, like maybe specifically for that game. But at the same time, think about the new complaint. Like, is the Xbone gonna have backwards compatibility? Will it play the games properly? Will they be like, oh, this Xbox One has lag because it's not the original Xbox. It's just an emulation of the original Xbox 360. Is it gonna open up a whole new can of worms where nobody wins?
well, didn't they already say Xbox One's not going to have any
Yeah.
backwards compatibility?
Exactly. So I think that kind of rules it out, unless they just make Xbone versions of the games that are going to be played.
Well, yeah,
That's
and I mean,
sick.
Xbox 360 was originally not supposed to be backwards compatible either.
And it isn't.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
I mean, yeah, they say it. It's kind of partially, sort of, if you enjoy running
It does
officially
what,
licensed
5
emulators
games?
on your system.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even consider it backwards compatible because they had the update that was just released really poorly where you could only download it once, and so if you decided to switch hard drives, it was hard to get it back on again. And
Yeah.
It's not like inherently backwards compatible. It's like backwards compatible if you really want to just like break your teeth out over it.
I think the whole lack of backwards compatibility though is also just to some extent a business move. It's cheaper to put it on there, but at the same time you can re-release things digitally, to have that kind of aspect. So I just wonder if are we going to be able to have digital re-releases of Injustice, Ultra, Street Fighter? Are they going to have stuff like that on there or what?
Sort of like a PlayStation Classics type thing for Xbox
Well,
One.
Yeah.
didn't they have an Xbox Originals download thing on 360?
Yeah, you can get some
they do
games
some.
on there. But I wonder.
It's only some games though, right?
Yeah. Select games that they go back and make sure it emulates properly to some extent, I assume. But even the PS3 has you can get all your PS2 games and they lag or whatever. But that's the thing. If it is going to be Xbox One, I feel like it won't be entirely, but they will probably have Killer Instinct. I'm assuming in the event that it's going to be.
So
I
my
just
response
can't
to
imagine
that-
why they would want Killer Instinct after how people reacted to the tech demo.
Well, it's one of those things where it's remember the long-standing statement about how a game should get into Evo? The whole Cinderella story of, hey, the Third Strike community really got up and fucking out there and started promoting the game and having all their tournaments, and look, they fucking got the Daigo moment, yay! And then after that, when people started doing shit like that, it'd be like, Melty, Blaze, oh, Injustice, go right in. This game's not even out yet. Just fucking, here's the throne. Just fucking sit down. We'll just have Art tell us how amazing this game is, and he fillets some fucking developers. I could give a shit. Because that only means that instead of Art, we're going to have fucking Maximilian telling us how fucking amazing Glacier's shitty-ass, super spiky, edgy Mountain Dew design is. I don't give a fuck. I don't think...
So are you trying to tell me that Glacius looks like... Oh, man, what's the one... It's not the Taco Bell Mountain Dew. There's a blue Mountain Dew that's special somewhere else.
Livewire or something like that?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
Livewire
Livewire.
blue.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's Baja Blast, which is amazing, and it's the only soda I regret not being able to drink anymore since I banned soda out of my diet. There's Livewire. Remember Code Red?
Yeah.
God, that shit tasted awful.
That's what I picture Killer Instinct. It's just Mountain Dew Code Red. Nobody wants it. Maybe one guy really liked it, but everyone just has really bad memories of it. Don't play Code Red.
I
It's
think...
fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I honestly think that Killer Instinct has a good shot to make it because a lot of people who have been around for a long time seem to really like the game. I.e. Wizard really seems to like it, Saber seems to like it. A lot of the guys who've been around since the 90s, a lot of the people who made the foundations of the fighting game community seem to be really excited for it, so
Well,
I see it having a
People
good
in that
shot.
room were asleep.
Thank you, Kelly. That was my exact point.
yeah,
Well,
Killer
they're
Instinct,
old.
it's a
It was their
game.
bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You have to wonder about these people, how much hands-on time have they had of it, and have they had with this game, and how much is just this sort of, lingering nostalgia for fucking, bygone eras, where it's oh, man, I could play a game that has no throws, no blocks done, and the fucking best character has an unbreakable combo that starts off a fucking unblockable off a jump-in. This is what I'm hearing, all right? It's nobody fucking remembers Killer Instinct fondly as a competitive game. It's it's the perfect example of a one-player game once you get really good at it.
Yeah.
It's hey, I hit you first. I win. I play these games for player interaction. Removing someone from the game isn't fun to me. Torturing someone because they have options and they're choosing the wrong ones over and over again because I'm guessing right. That's fun. That's real fun. It's not removing someone from an aspect and playing the one-player game. It's having them have an inkling of hope and then taking it from them over and over. That's real fun.
I like how you kind of went into a Macho Man Randy Savage mode there for a second.
I heard that.
I just snapped into a billion Slim Jims right now. You don't even know.
But
Yeah, we all left and went and ate food during that game, and I tweeted innocently about it, not even in a I'm trying to avoid Killer Instinct kind of way. I was yay, I'm gonna go get food. I had a million people you made the right decision. Don't go back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless of KI, whether it makes it in, whether it doesn't, I have to imagine that Xbox 360 next year should silence. It should silence all the whining.
Yeah.
I don't believe
Well,
that for
I
a
still don't
second.
think it won't stop all the whining.
It won't, but I'm saying it should. You see?
Okay, yeah, it should. There's a group of players I know who will complain for sure. I talked to a few Japanese players about this. They've already embraced this. Like the Japanese KOF community, seems like several of them have embraced it because they hear good things about the 360 version being, not lagless, but having less delay.
And it does a lot less.
It does. But people here in the States don't seem to believe that, for whatever stupid reason.
Weren't we the ones that said that it had delayed in the first place?
Oh, what the crap?
Yeah, I'm in there.
Showed up. Yeah, so I was telling people it had delay.
Somebody's father is here. Everybody close the show down.
Everybody wrap it up.
Where'd everybody go? Oh, man.
It was supposed to be a good show today, but then this jackass today. Yeah, so I was telling people it had delay, like, I want to say... Everyone thought I was just being crazy. They said, oh, you... Like, people insisted that I said it just because I own a 360 and not a PS3. And since I practice on 360, that's what I wanted the tournaments to be on. But people are stupid. I mean, this is proven.
You go shut that off.
So, I've been telling people this for a long time. Little by little, some people have been realizing it. Paul, I know you've come to the same realization. Like you've played at the run back on PS3s. You go home, you play on your 360. You see same monitor, same stick, less lag at home.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it honestly because I'd always played it on 360 at home because that's the console we have it for. And I remember going to the run back a couple times and I was like, I have no execution, and I thought it was me. I was like, I just haven't been playing that much. Maybe it's me. But I went home after the run back the same night, and I'm hitting everything. I don't, even and people could say, okay, that could be tournament nerves, but even in casuals after the tournament, I was trying to play and I was still dropping everything. So to go home and immediately hit all your stuff, that to me suggests that there's a problem.
You know what I'm really hyped for? That it's on Xbox? Does this mean it's the end of the fucking training stage?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too, because everyone says the training stage is the only stage that doesn't lag for PS3. But it's perfectly fine on 360. So we'll see. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are still going to do training stage because, fighting gamers are creatures of habit, and they just do the same thing over and over.
It's like, look, man, I counted all the little blocks in the background of the training stage. I need to know how to get my unblockable one-frame setup by knowing that I'm on the 50th block from the left.
Literally plugged into the stage background.
I never get hit by that mix-up, but I did.
Yeah. It's like, look, man, I'm a block counter. That means I'm one that counts blocks. So I counted the blocks. That shouldn't have worked. It's obviously a different resolution aspect ratio lag due to the 360. It's like, why the fuck are we doing this? Why did we allow this to become the standard? We're playing these fucking fighting games where it's like, I have a fucking old man that's dying from leukemia that's fighting in some fucking Chinese back alley with hobos getting drunk. I want to see that. This is the life I signed up for. I didn't sign up for some fucking, like, sterile room with squares in it.
Well, and you know what's funny is there are plenty of games, and by plenty I mean almost every game ever, fighting game, has had lag in it of some kind. And I'm talking about running on arcade software. They all have lag.
Yeah.
And until everything was played on console, you just sucked it up and did it. I mean, none of the PS2 releases of CVS2, of Guilty Gear, none of those are arcade perfect. Third Strike definitely isn't. And everybody, except for the FFA guys who refused to play a non-arcade tournament, everybody else just sucked it up and played. Now because we're running on Marvel 3, which is basically a console-only game, and SF4 for large swaths of the United States is a console-only game. If one console to another is slightly different, they throw a shit fit.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because I'm really mad that my version of Marvel 3 is not arcade perfect.
Damn.
Wow.
There, I said it.
Sucks for
I've been
you,
holding
man.
that in for a while.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I just chalk it
360.
up to not giving a shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you said, Paul. In the arcade days, that's what we had. It's what we dealt with. Is fine. KOF community, for the most part, didn't do much on console until 05 to 07 because people stopped bringing super guns around. I think the last people to bring super guns to an SNK tournament were me and Nock, and then Nock sold the super gun shortly after that because it was just a MVS board on a it was MVS board on a cutting board. It was amazing. Yeah, he sold it in 07, then everything went to PS2 from there, and none of the ports were arcade perfect. But people decided to say, hey, let's make console-specific rules instead. And some people liked it, some people didn't like it. It was a toss-up. I personally wasn't a fan because, a lot of the console-exclusive characters were broken as shit. But other people seem to enjoy using them because they win with them. So, in the case of Marvel 3, it's like you said, it's only on console.
Yeah.
So there's nothing people can complain about outside of console differences, which are very I think Marvel is the most obvious difference.
And the problem is that console only means there's no definitive version. You can say that Xbox 360 is the best version because there's no lag or something like that, but that doesn't really mean it's the definitive version of the game.
Yeah.
So
It's definitive for me, bro.
exactly.
I like the PS3 version over the Xbox One because there's more delay and it makes more top players complain because apparently when you're a top player it means you should never lose under any circumstance, and the way you lose must be some sort of outside mystifying effort by some company to ruin your day. It's not like people can actually be good at a game.
Well, technically,
dude.
top players don't lose already because aren't they all getting first place?
Not all of them.
Figures.
They're
Aren't
making
they all,
six
like-
figures?
They're all making the same amount of money. Win or lose, doesn't matter. Wasn't playing to the best of my ability anyway.
They're stacking fat dough everywhere, just making it rain.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Actually, something just came to my this idea just popped in my head 'cause nobody's pointed this out yet. So, let's say KOF is on 360, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm already displeased with it because it's not the latest version. The Steam edition is Climax. Why aren't we playing that? As a
I'm glad
Ralph
you
and Shen
brought this
player,
up.
there's a lot of little nuances that could really fuck me over because the KOF console edition that we have now have really minute things that fuck over those two characters.
Oh, and I guarantee the Steam edition plays slightly differently than both 360 and PS3.
Yep.
It does.
I am willing to go into a KOF tournament this coming year at EVO and just purposely pick Ralph into Raiden and drop a Neomax every time and then blame it on the fact that there's a reverse input in the console version that nobody knows about. And that was fixed in Climax. I want to do that. And then just be like, hey, Sanchez, what'd you lose? Oh, this fucking thing, man. Stupid ass EVO's running it on fucking your console, man. I've been practicing on Steam Edition the entire time. I don't know why I sound like that in my own head, but that happens.
Setting yourself up for failure to prove a point.
Exactly. Where it's like, hey, dude, why'd you get hit by that combo? It's like, oh, man, you didn't know fucking Shen's standing D has counter hit property, even though counter hits don't happen on normals. But, fucking console edition, bro. Fucking, Mr. Wizard hates KOF. Apparently he also hates Mexicans by association. That's how these things work, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I honestly would.
Also,
As a
really
whole,
need to get a
I
better
just
voice for myself.
I just say as a whole, I think PC should just be the platform for fighting games. I mean,
Too expensive though, man.
it's kind of expensive, yeah, and especially with all the upgrading and all the other things. But these new consoles are practically PCs anyways, It's like, you don't need
Yeah, they're PCs that are like a third of the price.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, to get that level of what they do, it's going to cost more. But I mean, if with more PC ports, at least you don't have to worry about all these runarounds and loops you got to go through with Microsoft and Sony would be like, oh no, if you want to patch and all this other garbage, you got to have all these rules and you got to have it approved by a third party and all this other junk. It's just like, hey, if it's on PC, just do whatever you want because nobody cares.
Got to lobby for the Steam box, man.
Yeah.
Well, and here's an interesting thought too: is that you got to consider cost when you say, okay, PC is more expensive than console right now. Well, if you can probably get a passable gaming laptop with a monitor as big as the Evo monitors for maybe $100 more than the console and monitor combined.
That's a big gap for some FGC people.
But no, I'm talking about for Evo to be running tournaments.
And I'm sure they can cut some deal, like, oh, Alienware, you know, like they can have some sort of advertisement thing. You know,
Oh man, I just thought about that.
yeah, like there's more opportunities than you get that, and then think about like all the big esports, I suppose we should be calling them or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, now you have Steel Series and Nvidia, Intel, AMD will cut you a deal too. Be like, hey, use AMD over Nvidia so that support this product. Like there are so many more advertising venues because a PC is made up of multiple little parts. It's modular. You could do what you want with it, and then it's just like Microsoft. Yeah. One thing.
Got like 8 new sponsors out the bag.
Yeah, like
But-
there's just a lot more you could do.
But of course, that would cut out all the games that are never going to be on PC, like Arc Systems Works, who is looking to be shunning even any Microsoft system. So I don't think PC is in their plans for the future.
Well, that's the thing. I just feel like we need to show that there's a big scene for PC playing, And
Yeah.
There's not.
there is. PC is the largest market share of video games in general still.
For fighting games, though?
Not for fighting
Oh.
games, but for gaming in general.
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell about fighting games because we don't know how many people who play fighting games actually PC game and vice versa. There has never been much of an overlap to know.
That's true, but at the same time, I'm sure it's a lot easier to find like God, what's it called? Like a LAN center than it is to find an arcade anywhere.
Yeah,
Even if you don't
at
own a
this point,
PC.
for sure.
Yeah, and you might not own a PC, but if there's a bigger emphasis on fighting games on PC, you could go to a LAN center and that is your arcade without having to have the stupid abide by all these arcade rules that are archaic because people are afraid of gangs showing up still, ever since the 80s. Like there's definitely there's a lot of
way
ways.
more afraid of gangs showing up at LAN centers than I am of arcades.
Like, hey Holmes, you don't hit 300 GPM? Oh,
Dude.
or APM.
It's not even that. It's like when you'd go to like LAN centers before, and you'd have the douchebags would be like, "Hey, my Counter-Strike name is I'm not the guy in the smoke," and he would just throw smoke grenades, stand inside the thing, and knife people that walk through him. And you'd see some dude stand up in the back of the fucking LAN center and go, "It's like, hey, who's the fuck ass in the smoke?" Isn't that funny? Then suddenly like a gun gets cocked somewhere, and you're like, "Ah, shit, man, this game of Gunbound is not worth it, dude."
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, and plus with the popularity of multiplayer online battle arena games like League of Legends and Dota, like there are a lot of people that play those games, and on a PC I'm sure you can optimize fighting games to a decent amount, or at least have ways to be more optimized, like static 2D backgrounds or things like that. Like yeah,
Oh, man,
sure.
They don't want more fighting gamers to move toward PC. They don't want to lose more people to Dota and LoL.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure that the same type of people play. I mean, obviously they do, since most of us play both. But there are definitely people who are like, will only play LOL.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true about everything.
But at the same time, like, what if there's... Okay, here's the hypothetical. What if Killer Instinct comes out on PC, which it probably will, I'm assuming, at some point, and being a nice, easy, cheap game that's, fairly casual at this point, like, that could pick up Steam. You don't even know. Like, anything could be picking up Steam.
No, man, it'll be for games for Windows. Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
Oh god.
I think
Is that
Games for
the other
Windows is
thing?
closing down, honestly.
Oh, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, they're shutting down in this month sometime. I don't remember, but there's definitely a lot of things, or the free-to-play model. Like we have XDZW, Shondo Chuang. Like freaking, you can have like these new types of games, or how on the PS3 they have Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, the free one, and you can just kind of upgrade from there. It's there's a lot more things you can do as a whole, and
Oh, definitely.
yeah, it's just
I mean,
Yeah.
Because obviously, Skullgirls has shown that PC is an ideal solution for the problems that fighting games have always had,
Hmm.
i.e., patching broken shit, adding new features, whether it be stages, characters. I mean, Steam as the platform is ideal because you can send that stuff out free for small stuff, or you could charge even if you wanted to for big stuff.
Yeah. And
And
instantaneously.
then it's up to you, the developer.
Yeah. Like, think about a fighting game for the PC, and there's a problem with it. There's a huge glaring bug. You can just update it until it's fixed. You don't even have to worry about balance. You can wait on a balance patch for 2-3 years, even if you ever want to balance it. But if there's problems with the game, inherent problems that is a hurdle to patch on a console, you could just do it. And if you messed up on that one too, you're like, oops, well, don't worry, we're going to continue to fix it because there's just that much pliability. Unless corporations are just kind of hiding behind the fact that it's so difficult to patch. Be like, oh, we can't patch this because this guy says it's hard. We don't want to take personal responsibility, so you're just going to have to deal with what you got. I don't know if it's that kind of
There's
mentality.
that word again. Responsibility.
Yeah.
What's
Don't use that around here, dude.
we got to start using it. We need someone who needs to be a responsible adult around here.
Oh,
Whoa,
shit.
whoa, I don't
The
know.
only responsible adult was not supposed to be here today.
Ah, man. I was out being a responsible adult and got back a little early.
I don't think that's a job that has a shift, dude. I think you're a full-time father now.
Yeah.
I am, definitely. She's downstairs right now, just opened her eyes, and she's like, where the fuck my daddy go?
But, so, kind of going back to Evo for a minute, obviously, they quickly issued a comment saying that games that are not on Xbox still have a shot to be in Evo, i.e., anime community, don't start hating us yet.
Yeah.
Oh, anime community, untwist your Shimapan.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
I mean, I just want to say, there's definitely no way that they're going to ignore at least Guilty Gear at this point. Like,
I
Yeah.
think it's more likely BlazBlue will be there.
Yeah.
well, okay, that's fine too. It's just that there's something here for Evo staff to capture in a bottle, pretty much. There's no reason for them to neglect that if it's just a fucking console issue,
Mhm.
Yeah.
This comes back to 2 points that I wanted to make earlier when we were talking about it. So you guys are talking about how, how stages will lag and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember reading in this Under Night In-Birth article when they're talking about the latest versions, is that they were really envious of Persona 4 because their backgrounds are simple but really stylized and nice looking. They're appealing to the eye without having to be overtly just have effects everywhere. And I never thought about it before, but they're right. Like, I like the way the stages look, but they're so simple that they don't cause any of these performance lags. Like, well, on the other hand, you have Street Fighter where it's like, oh look, there's like 80 people in the background, and when you fall, chunks of the stage break off and whatever. And it's like,
And 25 FPS.
yeah, like, I can understand they wanted to make it look nice because it was like the latest latest Street Fighter to come out in a while, and it was on a next gen console and all that stuff. But
Actually, that brings up an interesting point. So, you're obviously talking about like the China stage where it's like, oh, every time you knock down, that photographer guy falls on his ass, and if you knock down on the left side of the stage, some dude falls from a roof and they catch him and then he falls on his ass, and then letters from the Chinese liquor store start falling down, and the dude that's like selling chicken starts getting really rowdy.
yeah,
That's all really fucking like involved. There's a lot of shit going on there.
yeah,
Nobody noticed this, but in the arcade version of the diner stage, I guess, the one with all the cars and like the really weird representation of,
America.
Oh, like
America.
the American 50s car diner or whatever?
yeah, except
Yeah.
it has all like the fucking hip hop stylized cars and Pimp My Ride bullshit going on. There's a car on the very, very left hand side of the stage in the arcade release of Street Fighter 4 that kind of takes you back to Street Fighter 2, where if you threw somebody into a stage hazard, like the barrels, they would just kind of get smashed up, right?
Mhm.
That's not in the consoles. That's not in any of the console releases. That car has been completely removed. Which begs the question, was that car so fucking memory, like, demanding that it's like, oh, dude, who put this car here? The PS3 can't handle it. These polygons to make this fake Ferrari? Whose idea was this? You're fired.
Had too many protocols, man. Like, there's
Yeah.
like chunks of the car that would fall off and shit.
Fun thing about that is I've asked several people in Capcom why was it removed, and no one can give me an answer.
We forgot
Oh,
about
just
it.
forgot to put it back in.
Yeah.
I,
Like for Ultra, could they put that car back in? That's
That's the hidden character.
that's
Oh,
the
shit.
buff. That's the buff I want for Ultra.
Yeah. I want it to work like X-Men versus Street Fighter 2, where if they bounce off of it, I can get a free combo.
You also want to have throw resets mid combo, like
Yeah.
No, man, just make it like Rage of the Dragons. Bounce off a stage hazard. I'm gonna keep juggling you. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
That's so sick.
So bad.
You do your
But-
CD auto combos and just knock them into it and do it again.
And that just kind of goes into the lack of foresight. Obviously, Arc Systems Works has put in that sort of thought into their stage design where, hey, we know that there might be performance issues if we cram this full of shit. So, we don't have it. Whereas, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say Capcom didn't give a fuck.
I
They're
think
just like, oh, it looks really nice. That's all we care about.
Yeah. Look, the stages, they're so full of things. Please ignore the horrible character designs and character models.
So next gen, huh?
such glow, so lasers.
Yeah, I don't know. But now that, Killer Instinct shows me that I can have 5,000 particle effects on the screen, I'm just blowing my mind out here, you know.
God.
Insert the largest fart sound ever here. Because so
It's just like
people
4th of
started.
July
I
on the
think.
game screen.
Oh my god! I think people started complaining about Marvel 3 when people started playing on like the vanilla helicarrier stage where it's in the night and it's really black and there's a fucking Kree invasion or the Skrulls or whatever this shit and fucking shield agents are flying around and F-14's trying to shoot them down and you can't tell which ones are your projectiles and then there's that douchebag that picks black colored X-23 and you can't tell where the fuck she is even when she is visible.
That's a legit strat.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a strat.
Yeah. So that stage, I've definitely seen people play on that stage and it lag up, like lock up a little bit, and you're like, this is a little weird. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Isn't this like the future of next gen consoles, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Like, I think that stage is too much. Like the fucking new helicarrier stage, where it's just like, hey, it's an air show, it's nice and daylight out. This is America.
It's fucking Fleet Week.
Yeah, that'd be way better. Like, I honestly don't understand why they would design backgrounds that are going to be intrusive. Like, I'd like to enjoy them. They bring a lot of character. There's a lot of lore behind these backgrounds. And for the most part, I'd want to look at them, even if it's a game I don't particularly enjoy watching, like Street Fighter 4. Like, I like most of the backgrounds in there, save for the volcano one, and that stupid Sakura one that has those weird, creepy kids in the background.
These kids are weird.
Or you could have your stage be nice, in a different way. Make a special stage intro that has something, and then when you finally get to playing, nothing happens. Or, also at the windscreen, something special happens. And I'm also not a fan of ambient noises on stages, where you just kind of have like save the noise for make it like golf. You clap after the guy hits. After the round's over, bring in the noise.
So, what you're saying is you're not a fan of any KOF 13 stage.
Yeah,
He doesn't like the Egypt stage because even when he wins, he gets booed.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in a public area. It's like that's not what the point of the game was. The point is, they look nice and everything, but I just want to hit this other guy in the face a lot. I don't know.
What's funny is
I
it
actually
feels
have.
like- Oh, go for it.
I have no problem with the ambient noise. I actually think it's kind of cool because it makes the stage come to life more. I have a big problem with it, however, when you turn the music off. So when I was recording those stupid manual activation KOF 13 combos, I went to the Iori 98 stage, the one that's like the red one.
Mhm.
There's a shit ton of crows on that stage.
There's a whole
Like as soon as you turn
construction
the
going
music
on.
off, it is frightening. It was just like I honestly thought there were crows outside my house for a few minutes, and I was about to die in a fucking
the
scene out of
birds?
the birds. Yeah,
Who is jackhammering outside my house? No, that's gonna be kind of annoying.
yeah. And then there's that's the clock stage where Lily Kane's in the background.
Hmm.
Those vapor vents are constantly making noise and clanking. And until you turn the music off, you're just like, oh, it's just ambient noise. It doesn't really bother you. And then suddenly you're just like in some fucking steel mill and you want to die.
Yeah, and I
It's
don't
like-
understand why it feels like companies have moved away from the characters drawing you into the game, and then they're making the stages. Because it used to be, stages were like the flavor of the game. You're like different wild vistas, but they're all pretty static unless a few moving parts, and it was the characters would interact. like CVS2, people having different intros with one another to like kind of hint at storylines that were going on. You know, Guilty Gear took that to the next level with some pretty ornate introductions for people who
Blaze Blue
watched
is the
that
same
game.
thing.
Like two characters like will just actually have like a small fight before the round.
Yeah.
And now that's all gone. And now it's like, yeah, the stage like moves for fucking 25 seconds. Like, I don't give a shit. It doesn't help me.
Yeah. It's like they took away custom intros and, you know, special endings that's like, oh man, look, if you do this at this part of the stage, like a dust cloud kicks up and some dude takes a picture and there's all this garbage going on in the background.
Well, after running like countless Street Fighter 4 tournaments for the arcade and realizing how boring that game was, I actually started entertaining myself by watching the backgrounds more than the actual gameplay. So it took me forever to figure out, but there's a certain way you can slam an opponent on the temple stage that will knock the candles down.
I had no idea.
That's about it.
Interesting. Yeah.
You could also knock the door off on the very far left. And you only get to tell that it's been knocked off if you pan the camera with one of the ultra cinematics.
Also,
Yeah,
What
he
I'm
was
trying to
really
say
bored
here
of
is that the
that game,
actual
dude.
gameplay is
Holy
boring as shit.
God damn.
It's like,
But-
I just started watching the background. It's like, oh man, did you know on the volcano stage, if you slam him here, there's a little gush of magma.
Just a pinch.
Just a dash, a dollop of magma.
I actually
can't
do
say
like that
everybody's-
stage though, just because of how
You're an
much
idiot.
people, just how much people dislike it though. That's what makes me love it
That
so
stage,
much.
is,
What
as,
an
as
asshole.
someone that's a fan of the color red, that stage is too red.
I don't think it's. I think it needs a little more. You know, just you throw it in. It's
Also, it's too red, and the music is too red. Like, the music sounds like somebody's about to go into cardiac arrest when, like, somebody gets below half-life. It's like, suddenly it's just like, oh, crazy, like, shitty
yeah.
thrash guitar riff where it's like, dun, 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 dun,
yeah, and not only that, it's the same one for like every 3 seconds.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's you're like, oh, sweet Jesus, we gotta end this round quick. I think my grandpa's going into labor.
God.
It's like, whatever happened to having a lot of personality with really minimal things? Like the character intros in Blaze Blue, the ones in Guilty Gear, all the little things in like CVS2 were amazing, where like Chang throws a booger at Eagle who proceeds to flick it away like golf style with his batons.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that's a lot of personality in there. It tells you a lot about the characters. Now it's like M. Bison floats down and he's evil because he doesn't have any pupils.
I think they got that started because, like, a lot of the, like, for a lot of people who weren't competitive SNK players, they were like, they wanted to see the special intros because, like, you know, then you knew something was fucking happening, you know?
Yeah.
So you wanted to see, like, the Kill vs. Yori intro and shit.
Yeah, let me just stop you right there, Chris. Even competitive SNK players at the time wanted to see all that shit.
Yeah, dude.
Cool.
I'm going to
To
tell
be
you right now,
honest with you,
KB.
I think they're really cool, especially if things are getting recorded for tournament. Like
Yeah.
important matches, seeing the full intros if there is an intro, it's actually pretty interesting.
Like, I'll admit, I love watching KOF 98 Ralph and Clark.
Oh my
Cross
god.
Changer.
Yeah.
I was about to bring that up.
So
That
good.
is-
Would you ever skip that?
No.
That is a moment between two men. That is an amazing moment. Okay. Then like all the old KOF games had like amazing intros. Some had longer intros than others. Like Kyo and Iori always had longer intros because they were talking to each other. Little things like that. They aren't as like crazy as Gear, where they're fighting each other. But they were still good. And then 13 just removed all of it. And it's like no personality. Like there is no personality in 13 outside of the only thing you have in 13 is when Kyo and Iori kill each other. That's it.
Yeah.
And the really questionable Art of Fighting character loss poses.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you want to call them poses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Just-
That's no, man, it's nostalgia factor, man.
yeah. No, we're
it's
just
questionable.
we're doing the throwback to Art of Fighting 1, 2, you know, and
Look,
King of Fighters 95.
Paul, this is the thing. they took the zooming in and out from KOF 12.
Yeah.
Like, you remember how I had to zoom in, zoom out? That was from Art of Fighting. So they had to replace it with something else from Art of Fighting.
Uh,
So
Makes
that's-
sense to me, man. I don't know.
I don't think we needed either of them, to be completely honest. But
Yeah, it's just
No,
that
I
they,
agree. Yeah.
they played mostly like their 95 version, so it seemed like they really tried to do that. But it's like, this wasn't necessary.
yeah, I admit I'm a bit of an Arc Systems Work fan, but
I admit it.
as much as the backgrounds can be not as interesting as some of the Capcom stuff, I feel like they complement the games rather well.
Mhm.
I
And
prefer them because of that.
yeah, they don't really distract from what's happening.
I mean, there are a couple stages in Blaze Blue that I get a little distracted by, like the Tau Kaka
Oh yeah.
town stage, because the
Oh,
little
the
kittens
ghosts,
in the
like,
background.
ghosts running around and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like those distract me a little bit, but they're not nearly as bad as like almost anything I see in Street Fighter.
Well,
The one-
it's funny that it's becoming like a thing in 4, where before Capcom's backgrounds and a lot of backgrounds from like old 2D games had a like almost a scenic painting kind of quality to them.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
did.
And now it's just like, let's just shove a bunch of shit. Like, it's like, hey guys, remember Street Fighter 2 with that guy that looked like Q on the boat on Kent stage and all those dudes that are doing those 3 frames of animation where they're like quietly firing inflatable guy? Let's just put all of them everywhere. And they're like a bunch of polygons now, so it takes a lot of memory. Yeah, guys, it's really
Everybody
cool,
gets
right?
it out.
Throwback nostalgia. Give me money.
I mean, there's like one thing I've never liked about Arc Systems, at least how they treat their backgrounds, because like usually in Guilty Gear, like the earlier games, like backgrounds would be tied to a certain character and fit their personality, and then in the next game they would be in somebody else's background originally. You know, like I think in X, Eddie was in hell, like Testament was in hell or something, right? And then in XX, Eddie's over there, and it's just kind of like. I mean, I guess it fits, but what's the reason for this?
Yeah.
He's dead.
He's not dead. It's not actually hell. It's just they call it hell.
It's hell.
Oh,
You don't
said
get
a
it,
lot.
dude. Here, let me explain it to you right now.
All right,
Chris.
go ahead.
All right, let me break it down for you. So Testament used to be there, right?
Uh huh.
And now Eddie's there, right? So they're both there. Hell is other people.
Whoa,
Oh my god.
shit just got
Such
deep.
respect for the Lord.
No, but I really do think, like, and especially in Guilty Gear, like, you have these large, elaborate backgrounds, but, you know, they don't detract from the actual gameplay, and they don't distract from the actual gameplay. It's like, they're nice and they're detailed, but it's not super in your face with everything. You know, you can appreciate it.
And
Oh,
then
some
you
of them-
have Persona, which has the thing I hate the most: foreground bullshit
Oh.
that disappears when you walk near it.
Yeah, I never was a
Oh,
fan
the
of the
one
foreground.
stage.
Or like
I
the,
hate that.
or like
I,
the,
for one, like it.
Are you sure your third strike Chun stage table mix up? Just hide behind the table.
It's not only the see, everyone remembers the Chun stage, but no one remembers the cool dog, or the cool like wooden dog that's on Hugo's stage, the basket of peaches in Makoto's, that weird pillar in Remy's stage, and nobody ever notices. They're all there.
Hey.
Everyone just remembers the table.
It's a persimmon
How do you know that?
because she's Japanese.
Oh, so suddenly
Damn.
just because they're Japanese, they can only grow persimmons.
I don't know. My Japanese grandmother has a persimmon tree in their backyard.
Oh, so just because you have a Japanese grandmother, I can't remark. on the
To be fair,
fruits that
to be
Japanese
fair,
people can
she has a
grow.
peach tree too. So I don't know.
All right,
they just,
see?
they just
See?
look like
That's-
persimmons. They just look like
Look at
persimmons.
this guy flip flopping over here.
They
Just-
look like persimmons.
All right, hold on.
You know what, don't run
I
for
forgot. We
office.
have an expert here. As someone who is actually natively Japanese, Kelly, would it be persimmons or peaches in Makoto stage?
I think it's persimmons.
Yeah,
Fuck
they have like the thick orange flesh with like the brown top. Come on, that's a persimmon.
Yeah.
You
All
win
right,
this
good.
round.
So Tony, you win. Okay, so Paul, on to you.
No, I was basically just was going to continue on that line of thought. Like, it's nice that they're not totally distracting from what the game is actually doing.
Hmm.
But from moving on from Evo and to Fall Classic this last weekend,
Yeah.
I tried to watch it for about a half an hour to an hour total, and quickly turned it off because the streams were terrible.
Mhm.
And I don't mean that the production was terrible. I mean, I don't know if it was Twitch or it was the internet at the hotel, but I was watching stop motion.
Yeah, it
The thing
was.
would freeze for minutes at a time.
It was kind of like watching a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It definitely didn't hold my interest because of that, and I would check back periodically to see what was going on, but for the most part, I just didn't pay that much attention to it just because of that. And I mean, it could be a multitude of things. Could have been venue internet because it was terrible. Could have been Twitch. I think it was mostly the internet. But the fact that there was pool play for League of Legends going on with like 400,000 viewers could have probably hammered Twitch servers and stuff like that. So,
And I don't think I was very excited about TFC anyway because it felt really disjointed. There were like 4 streams going on at the same time.
That's the East Coast style, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think to some extent that can be really good, especially if there are games that are side events only. So you might want to watch the side. But it really felt like I didn't, even though there was a schedule, I didn't know where to go for what game.
Yeah.
Did they do the thing where they were starting to switch games between streams?
Yeah, I believe they did some of that.
Yeah, I hate that
Yeah,
shit, man.
I don't
Like,
think they
what's the
did it
point?
during finals. I'm pretty sure they did it during pool play though.
Like, it's something that, like, pool play is alright, because, you know, you're going to get a mixed bag of stuff. But there's been times where, like, they're doing that, and then they switch, like, say, it's usually Street Fighter and Marvel. You see Street Fighter, and then they put it from Spooky stream to Beef with Techies or whatever. And then they move Marvel from Beef with Techies to Team Spookies, and it's just kind of like, you know, are we... Like, if I want to watch Street Fighter, man, I came here for Street Fighter. I come here for some Marvel cake. It's just kind of a unnecessary thing, I feel. I don't know. It's
So
never really rubbed me the right way.
the question about that also though is that do you think that killed some of the viewership, or do you think just being the beginning of the next tournament season or so, and so close to after Evo and all these other events, do you think people are just kind of still burnt out on fighting games at the moment?
Well, I'll tell you right now, making your viewers go to another channel just so they can keep watching the game they came to watch is not a good way to keep them. Like, you're putting an undue burden on them. You're supposed to, like, you know, they literally should be doing nothing but clicking the link to your channel and watching it until the event is over. They shouldn't feel like they missed shit because they forgot to switch to the other channel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It also
And
might
there's
have
a-
been because it was unwatchable.
Yeah.
Does
You know,
that,
it's something that's like, you know, really visual heavy. I'm not gonna sit around and watch KOF when it's like a frame every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like suddenly it becomes like a silent film or something, where it's like a slideshow, or it's like one of those like magic eye things, or not magic eye things, the red clicky thing you put on your eyes. God, I'm drawing a blank.
What?
the
The little photo
neuralizer?
viewers.
Viewfinders.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a viewfinder tournament where it's like, oh man, my boy Common Sense ran afoul of Shin. Let's see how he handles this one. Click. That jump and hit. Click. Ooh, a combo. Click. Hey, he won that round. And it's like, you know, I can't enjoy this, which really sucked because I really wanted to watch KOF at TFC because not only did, you know, one of my guys, Common Sense, do really well getting third after Shen and Chris G, and actually almost beating Shen, if I remember right, from those 2 frames of animation that I managed to watch during the match. Like, I couldn't get to enjoy it. It was really
Yeah,
fucking terrible.
It would be interesting to go back and check the archives to see how much of it was their end and how much of it was Twitch's end, honestly. Which I hadn't even thought of until right now.
Well, I thought of it, but I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea how to check channels archive with the new Twitch layout.
Hmm.
So I
It's-
didn't bother.
Yeah, they don't make it
basically,
too easy.
You know how there's the chat window? There's a video tab right there next to it.
Yeah.
And that's where all the archives are now.
Yeah. So you can check out SDR on Twitch
Ah.
anytime you want.
Okay,
Go
that
to YouTube.
explains it. I never open chat. All right.
At the same time, I feel like it would have been better had there been like backup commentators who are really good at play-by-play or something. You know, could have salvaged it. Like maybe you wouldn't be able to
I've done
see.
some radio broadcasting, basically.
Yeah, because you could still
Oh,
hear
man, I'd
everything.
love to do that.
It wasn't choking up or anything like that. You know.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because KOF was basically impossible to watch or listen to because of the commentators. It was just really dull. I'm just gonna fucking say it. It's like I couldn't stand it. I just turned the shit off. I was like, hey, my boy Common Sense beat somebody. I'm out. I'm gonna go hit him up on Twitter. Tell him he did really well.
I had a burger for lunch today.
Commentators
Yeah.
were DJ Hoshin and a guy I did not recognize.
Yeah, and it was like without saying anything else. But did anybody else watch DOA?
Oh.
Why
I
would
heard
you
it- I
ask?
heard
Okay,
it was
okay,
awful.
yeah, I know this is bad. This is bad. It's DOA, and like if there's any game series I'm gonna shit on, it's that one. But I will say this: I left it on, and I left the audio on, and the 2 guys I had commentating it, one of them was Tom Brady, obviously, and the other guy that was with him, I don't remember his name. I don't think they ever mentioned it. Was actually really good at giving energetic, detailed play-by-play. So even though I literally give zero shits about that game and understand next to nothing about the latest version of it, because every time it said critical burst, I had no idea what the fuck they're saying. I was actually really drawn into it just because of the style of radio broadcasting they were doing for it, where you kind of just feel like you can picture the game by the way they're describing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the commentators were really good. And on the KOF side, the matches that I did manage to watch while they were animating correctly were really interesting, and it was just some of the worst commentary I've ever heard. You know, fucking Chris's boy, DJ Hoshin, kind of just sleeping on the job there.
Wow. Like, DJ Hoshin's my boy, but, like, you know, his voice kind of just lulls you to sleep, which he should probably charge money for. I swear to God, he could, like, he could be the cure-all for insomnia.
Yeah, just DJ Hoshin commentates your night, and you're just like,
yeah.
Who needs a warm glass of milk with honey anymore? I'm out.
Oh, damn.
He is the glass of milk, man.
He is that white.
Could he just change his
Oh
name to
my
DJ
God.
Milk and Honey?
DJ Milk and Honey? Yo, that's a sick name.
I'd like it. Just run with it. I don't know what Hoshin is. It just sounds like some weird stuff.
But yeah, I definitely feel like if there are people out there that know a decent play-by-play, like especially if a stream is choking up or if you have problems like that, like people generally know how the game plays that watch these games, so you can really, like you said, visualize what's going on, like just from hearing it, you know. So I'm just thinking, like, as an alternative, maybe people should like start, learning how to do things like that, to commentate to help out
Actually,
in cases, problems.
I wish people would do that, but I think before, and like first and foremost, could people that want to commentate take a fucking speech class? Like, the number of ums and uhs that you hear while
Oh my
talking,
God,
just
that is
drive me insane.
Absolute worst. I learned
I'm
that.
pretty bad at it at times myself, but I try to focus on fixing it. If I hear it, I actually will stop and try to think about what I'm doing.
Yeah. After taking a debate class and a persuasion class, that's some of the worst possible things you can do when speaking to anyone, is to go, and then I was, like, nobody's going to listen to you. You don't sound like you know what you're talking about.
I was going to the store and I
So he
got the milk, guys.
He hit the
Dude,
guy.
that's what you be saying to
with
the cops when they caught you red-handed, man.
But
What had happened was,
then when you talk to him, you'd be like, "Officer, I know it may look kind of strange. I was just on my way home, and I met a couple of ruffians, and just in case, I defended myself. You sound way more legit. You gotta
You
work
command attention and an audience, and people will listen to you.
they're like, whoa, this guy's trying too hard. Book him, Dano.
Darn it!
And
I want to believe you, but your complexion is underwhite.
And remember always, if you're a commentator whose style is to be more factual, which I think mine is, I don't emote very well.
Mhm.
Have somebody with you who can continuously break the ice. I always try to have Sanchez commentate with me because he's good at telling jokes and livening the mood. Because that's not going to be me. If you don't have somebody that you work well with, it's going to fall flat no matter what.
Can we talk about how one time I definitely got talked into commentating with Marn?
Sure.
For what game?
I think it was
Marvel.
Marvel for some reason. I think it was like one of those nights where like David didn't show up to the run back, and like neither did anyone else. So they were like, "Oh, we need a second person. Oh, we'll just go on and talk with James." And so we were talking about the game, and then he had to go play a match. For some reason, they threw Marn on with me, and it was pretty much the most silent and awkward 5 minutes of commentary I think that ever existed. I eventually just wound up leaving because I was like, it'll actually be better for him to just be by himself rather than for people whether how bad we are together.
Oh my God.
Sounds like it went pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. He kept telling me to say something funny.
Oh, man.
Should have brought up the time he killed Guilty Gear.
No, that's not funny.
I did.
Yeah, it is. I would have laughed.
Dang.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to. You have to have some sort of like compatibility with the person you're with, and have like compatible styles, because otherwise you could just be sitting there like, yeah.
Give them the old checking the clock. Break out the mobile device, start looking up social media instead of actually interacting with somebody.
Looking at your watch.
Yep.
Totally. I would say the best chemistry is when you actually hate somebody. So like whenever me and Gibby are on the mic, it's like the fucking best for the viewers. Not for us so much because we never talk to each other afterwards. Like a good 2 days. But then like while we're on the mic together, we're just like they love it.
And then Chris has to go to the bar and drink away the sadness.
Oh.
Yeah, because he wants to money match me, and then I fucking lose, and I'm just like, you're a fucking jerk. I don't play these games.
Damn. East Coast option select, Chris?
I didn't even feel like playing today. I don't play this game.
Oh, wait, that's a different Chris. That's a different Chris. Wow. Yeah, like with me on commentary, I personally feel I'm just that guy that tells stories of how things were back in the day. That's it. That's all I'm really good for. People
I feel like
sound
the
better
minute you
than
start telling stories, it's like old people when they tell stories because one just sort of falls into another.
Yeah.
And you just kind of start rambling.
I love them, dude. I just can't get enough Gibby stories where it's like, you see, me and Nocturnal went over to Lancaster with the onion on our belt, which was the style at the time, and we were meeting Lord BBH, who was in town, and he was playing Mark of the Wolves, but we were playing Breakers. So anyway, this guy Dark Geese comes down from down south, and we punched the shit out of him, and then I woke up.
But actually, that is completely accurate. That actually happened. The onion is on
That's
the
a
belt.
true story.
He actually had that dream.
Oh no, I'm just saying, yeah, whatever. But
So- No, go ahead, Gibby. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say there are like different types of commentary. Like, I personally like doing commentary once again with Sanchez and Metaphysics. I like doing it with Hell Pockets too because it's just like he said. We have this thing where we just go back and forth with each other and talk shit. And when we do get serious, it's actually somewhat decent when we get serious. Outside of some dipshit talking over me half the time. So, yeah, like
that's a great play!
yeah. So basically, that's one of the other problems most commentators have. They don't know when to talk, and when they do decide to talk, it's when the other commentator is getting something in, and it's usually something stupid. Like they'll yell out the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
I only do that.
He hit him.
Somebody in the chat brought up the good point about the fake hype commentators, and how it's actually gotten hard now to tell the difference between who's genuinely hype and who's trying to ape, somebody else's style.
Oh.
Or like, I think this past week for Gear, when we were commentating, we being Paul and myself, there were a lot of things we wanted to say that we couldn't say, so we just found a really funny way to go around it. When, certain players were beating Nerd Josh.
That shit was fucking clown shoes, dude.
It was pretty clowny. Like, it was a 3-ring circus of fuck.
Damn.
So, somebody I think mentioned, while I was like glancing at the stream for a second, it's like, oh, look at this fake hype. And it's like, look, man, I've been doing this shit. Like, I almost want to go out on a limb and say I started this gangsta shit. Because Rockefeller was one of the first. Guess who replaced him? This guy with the thumbs
Ray
pointing
Ramos?
at himself.
RVD.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ray Ramos or Dogface, but I mean, if you want to be all egotistical about stuff and shit,
No.
all right.
They were
Yeah,
better
so
than
they're
me.
like fucking
But they didn't come
Rockefeller
before
2.0.
So the entire thing is that, like, look, you go back to those old Third Strike videos. I was genuinely enthusiastic. Life had not crushed me. I had $80,000 in the bank. Now I'm poor. I hate everyone, and fuck, these games blow. So when I actually get energetic, that's actually genuine because I'm mad and I'm making fun of somebody. It is not fake hype. You want
I
fake
was
hype from
really-
me? I'm gonna be like this. Oh, hit him with the sidewinder. Oh. It's like that's fake. That's genuinely fake. So
Oh my god.
that's some shit.
Well, see, here's the thing. At least you can fake hype. That's one thing I can't do. So I have, like, when I'm commentating with someone, like, okay, so I've done commentary with Henry Choi, David Kong, Metaphysics, and Kane317. The four of them were getting, like, really hype. Whether it was real or not, I don't know. I'm not getting hype with them. I'm not gonna do that shit. I don't go crazy over a game that's at the run back. Why am I going to go nuts over it when nothing special is happening? And they're like, oh, you got to be more hype when you're commentating, bro. Come on, dude. I'm like, kiss my ass. Why? That's not my style. There's like no reason for me to do it. I'm not getting excited.
You don't even get hyped the same way they do. That's the other problem. Like the way you get
exactly.
hyped, like you're
I
like
get angry.
Bullshit.
Yeah, like when I get hype, I'm angry. Like you hear it in my voice, it sounds like I want to murder people.
So like a totally different person.
Yeah, that's my excitement. I sound that way and I love it. But other people
everyone
don't.
has different styles of hype. So unless I'm like, genuinely, or Gibby's being genuinely like, mimicking somebody else, like, with these oohs and ahs. Like everyone has their own style of hype. That's maybe the way they get genuinely hype. Like Paul has a monotone voice. If he gets hype, it just gets like slightly higher pitched, and he covers his mouth and makes like a screeching sound that nobody can hear except dogs and cats.
I've always thought that whenever Paul commentates, you got to have a camera on him just to notice when he cracks a smile. That's when you know he's hype.
No, otherwise, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. So I'd like to bring this up. So at Evo, I commentated KOF for some of the pool play. Yeah. I honestly thought that was some of my best work ever because I took it seriously. There was a lot of things that I wrote down. There was a lot of people that I contacted for information, people that I contacted to gather information for me, so I was well prepared. I was well rested. I was sober. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything stupid in Vegas. And the opening thing that I had to do was with our good friend, DJ Milk and Honey, who was half asleep and repeatedly fucking things up. I love Chris. I love DJ Hoshin. He's a huge white goober. God damn it, he sucked ass. When he was repeatedly butchering Harigoro's name because somebody accidentally misspelled it on the overlay, I seriously wanted to punch him in the neck and just commentate the rest by myself. Because he kept doing it after I took my cell phone out, typed the correct pronunciation on the phone, slid it to the guy doing the overlays, and then passed it to Chris, and then passed it back to myself after I realized that Chris had acknowledged the fact that there was writing on this phone, looked at it and nodded, and then proceeded to say Harigogo again.
In his head, he was probably going like, what the fuck was that shit? Harigoro, that doesn't sound right.
That
ain't
stupid.
your name. That ain't your name.
Like, that drove me fucking insane. You have no idea. Like, here I am trying to do my best. And fuck!
Harigogo.
Yeah.
You know why that's probably pissing you off? Because it sounds like, I know it doesn't sound close to it, but for some reason, whenever I hear somebody mispronounce it like that, I can't help but think the next step is Honey Boo Boo.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you should have never said that.
Why this guy come on the show today?
I don't know.
Said man, it's Honey Bobo.
It's Harry Boo Boo.
Oh my god.
Like, I get people mispronouncing names, but when you're shown the actual name and you're told how to say it right, like there are times when we're at the run back, and I'll give Mondo, the guy who streams the run back, the guy who runs IA Battlegrounds, he does all the level up streams now. I give him, I write down the name, or I put it on my phone and show it to him, and he looks at it, he's like, "What the shit is this? This is how this idiot writes his name? The crap." Alright, whatever. I mean, he spells the person's name perfectly fine, the way it's supposed to be written in English. And then when I show him the way the player writes it, he's like, "What the crap is this? It's a dumbass piece of shit making me waste my damn time." Alright, there he goes, done. Then he goes outside and has a smoke.
There's definitely been a couple of times I've had to slide my phone with proper pronunciations to people while they were commentating, like, "Yeah, you're fucking this up really bad."
Yeah.
It happens.
Also,
you just gotta be ready to roll.
Ultra David brings up a good point. He said it's super annoying to take commentary seriously and then to commentate with someone who doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, that's the point I was going to bring up. So, the first pools that I did were with Milk and Honey, and that was just, I wanted to strangle somebody, as anyone that had breakfast with me afterwards would have noticed.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, I got to work with Black Rose, who was a peach. Like, seriously, give that man a medal. He did everything right. He brought information to the table. He was prepared. Hell, he even wore a dress shirt and tie. It's like almost as if he gave a fuck.
Like he was trying. It's crazy.
It's like he wanted to be there.
He's looking sharp too, man. And he has a good commentary voice, so that helps out a lot.
And after a while, we kind of found our rhythm, and we went back and forth. And a lot of the matches were really well commentated. There were nuances that were pointed out. There was play-by-play. There was excitement for the matches that were actually exciting. Because if you actually know me, you know nothing really excites me. And most of the time when I watch people play fighting games, I'm like, God, these fucking scrubs suck. But Black Rose was fucking amazing, and I really love working for him. And the only reason I even took the opportunity to commentate at EVO wasn't to fucking do it for SRK or the Cannons or whoever the fuck. It's because Segly asked me to do it, and I respect Segly a lot. And because I respect him, I'm gonna do a good job, which means I'm gonna show up on time. I'm gonna tell him if he needs anything. I'm gonna fucking do my best instead of being a jackoff.
Yeah.
Which apparently a lot of people don't understand, that if you're giving an opportunity, you should probably avoid spitting in that person's face.
And what's sort of frustrating, too, is you get a lot of people who want to commentate, but they haven't done the basic minimum amount of work you need to do to be a commentator, which is know something about the damn players you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean, hey, this guy plays Sagat. Great! What else can you tell me about him? Because you're going to need to fill time.
Oh, he likes long walks on the beach, writes poetry.
See, did he play other games? Does he have any history with the guy who plays next in the tournament?
Oh,
Have they played other games together? How long has he been playing games? These are easy things that anybody who's been around or who actually gave a shit would have checked out or known immediately.
Yeah.
Because that proves that you care. If you don't care, stop trying to get on the mic because you're pissing me off.
I agree.
Paul,
with
that's the aspect that I feel I can do. Because I know
But I'm super funny. People want to hear my jokes.
When people jump on the mic like, "Oh, I'm funny. I want to be the next Yipes. I want to come up with some
Why don't you want to be the next Yipes, man? Like,
that's what everyone says.
Like, no disrespect to Yipes. Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, but I've never understood why is everybody so obsessed with being the next Yipes when he's not even really, like, I think Yipes is more known for his play than his commentary.
No, here's the thing. Everyone wants to be the next Yipes because they were forced to think that they want to be the next Yipes. They saw this video of, was Yipes being Yipes. Like, this wasn't commentary.
Can't you just be
This
genuine?
was not commentary. It was just being genuine and enthusiastic about playing a game in the arcade.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of shit talk that would happen. Like, this was his style. Like, if it had been Mike Chaos, to name somebody else that got recorded and a video put up on YouTube, the style of commentary would have been, you're fat and your shit's whack. That's the kind of commentary would have been. Like, imagine how sick that everybody imitate that. Like, this dude's slim and his game is shit. But instead, everyone remembers that, like, Mango Sentinel and all this other shit. And it's like, everyone thinks that's what they need to be. Yeah, it's like, scopes. You have fucking Roger Dodger here sounding like he's a fucking where it's like, oh man, it's a misty night on the rocks here. Look at the sea salt, just scopes.
It's a foghorn.
Yeah, it's exactly what he sounds.
The ship is pulling into camp, I'm sure.
No, it's a tough life being a longshoreman. Just always getting grabbed. Scopes.
Like, listening to commentators who have that style where they're just like talking shit the entire time. Whether like Steve 40K, he's got a really good style like that. That's just him. If you listen to him talk when he's watching a match, not just commentating, when he's watching or playing a match, that's what he does. He just says this shit
like that at home. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's just him. That's who he is. It's not forced. It's not fake. It's all genuine. Okay, that's the thing with him. It's genuine. With everyone else, it's like, okay, I came up with this shit at home that I'm going to say. I'm going to find the right moment to say it. Boom, that was the right moment.
Sometimes that works out.
I don't.
Sometimes
the other comment. Okay, see, this is what I mean about dipshits talking over me. That's the dipshit upside over.
So get that out before you fucking totally snowballed that shit.
I don't think Steve could be fake for more than like 10 seconds without just like breaking down laughing.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's why I love the guy. The guy is just genuine.
Remember when we saw some jackass that tried to say Steve was trying to be a fake Yipes?
Yes.
It's like, oh, sorry, guy. I'm sorry that your fucking relations with ethnic people are so limited that you can't tell the difference between, one guy's style and another dude, genuineness.
Yeah.
I can't stand two street talkers in one scene. That just can't happen.
Yeah, exactly. I can't have
Whoa, hey, calm down.
Like, The Yipes people have their Yipes talk, and we have our regular American talk.
Yeah.
And then somebody right now is just thinking to themselves, Yipes is ethnic?
Yeah, Yipes is a great hype man, because that's all that video was him just talking shit while they played the game.
Yeah.
As a commentator, he's not the best. He
He's not
needs
the-
a really good commentator to be there with him.
I think if he shifted more towards the joke ESPN style kind of commentary he was doing, I think that would be amazing. If he actually really hammered it down and tried to get that, because it was both entertaining and just really solid at the same time.
If he
Yeah.
pulled off a good Stuart Scott, if any of you watch ESPN and know who Stuart Scott is, you'll know what I'm talking about. If he pulled off Stuart Scott, that would be perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that because he knows the players, he knows the games, and he's funny. He can
Yeah.
do it all. But people expect that whole like, oh, well, when's he gonna say Pringles? When's he gonna
Where's
say
the
curly mustache?
buzzwords? I want to hear the
Yeah,
buzzwords.
exactly.
I want to know when I should be able to laugh or to be like, yeah, that was a good play. You know, I need these audio cues for me to be able to understand when something's going on.
Please tell me how to think.
Yeah, it's
Oh my God,
I'm
terrible.
holding my bottle of Pringles so tightly right now that it just
Yeah.
hasn't been said.
I mean, it's the same.
They just have pretty like laugh tracks now. Sometimes flip a laugh track whenever people are supposed to think it's
Oh
funny.
man, can it be the Big Bang Theory laugh?
Oh
track?
my God! Please no.
so, okay.
Just
This-
think of whenever you're supposed to laugh.
I'm ashamed to admit I actually laughed at a joke on that show last night.
Oh man.
You don't have to
Wow.
show, just
Yeah.
I didn't know one person could change so much just from having a child.
It
Damn,
happens, Jeff.
happens overnight.
so you started watching Honey Boo Boo, and now you're laughing at the Big Bang Theory. Something else you want to tell us, Chris?
I don't know.
How many seasons of Friends do you own on VHS?
Then I got over that shit in high school.
Right.
So now this is my hope with Chris. Now that he's a father and everything, hopefully we never, ever, 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 ever hear the Clarkinator again.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Hopefully.
My
That'd be
my
awesome.
world would open up to just know that I never have to live under fear of hearing Clarkinator.
What are you talking about?
Oh my God!
There you go. All right, you just embarrassed the crap out of your daughter. She
Yeah.
has no idea what you're doing, but I'm pretty sure she's embarrassed right now. She just shat herself because of what you did.
Think about what you're doing, Chris. Before you keep talking, think about what you're doing. One day your daughter's gonna go to school and she's gonna run into this the kid of somebody that was a fighting game player, and they're gonna figure out who you are, and they're gonna be like, "Did you know your dad was the Clarkinator?" And she's not gonna know what that is. She's gonna look it up, and she's gonna realize you're a fucking idiot.
True. Remember,
That's one-
everything you do on the internet is recorded and saved for your children to see in the future.
That's
I already proved that earlier today with John Chinnery.
wow.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny.
I told you I was going to use it.
But that's a whole different story. So
But
Who's the Brody now?
and I think the thing of it is you can tell that as time has gone on, Yipes has gotten a lot better because he is trying to be a better commentator. But
Yeah.
it's almost like at times he sighs to himself and he's like, and now I have to use buzzwords.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
kids
remember
won't
that
know
episode of
what's
The
going
Simpsons where Bart becomes the "I didn't do it" boy,
Yeah.
and then there's a scene where he goes on Conan and he actually has a really prepared monologue about how there's parts of the rainforest being chopped down every day, and it's like, hey man, just do the line. That's what everyone watching a stream is. They're Conan in that moment. They're just say the line. Just say I didn't do it.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit about your insight or your actual knowledge of the game. We just want you to say Pringles. Please, Pringles me.
No, and my favorite is when he has a co-commentator that asks, "Would you say his mustache was curly?"
Oh.
And then Yipes just breaks out like, "Oh well."
You can pinpoint the
Oh,
exact
okay.
moment his heart breaks.
Yeah, you just see where his heart sinks into his colon.
Yeah.
That's how far down it goes. It doesn't sink into his stomach. It goes down to his colon, and he's like, "Well, okay." And then he just starts doing it.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of potential to become a better commentator than he is right now. It's just people are holding him back.
Yeah.
People want this, like the Yipes that they see in that video. They have no idea what the hell he's saying half the time. I've talked to people, they explain to me what curly mustache means. I have 7 different definitions of what curly mustache is. Same thing with Pringles. Same thing with Scoops. Same thing with Mango Sentinel. People didn't understand what Mango Sentinel and Fuck the Knicks were. They didn't understand the correlation between the two of them.
How is that possible?
See, you
People
don't
are
get it. He
stupid.
said it was a mango sentinel because the mix-ups he was doing were really fruity and flavorful.
Exactly.
Hmm.
See. And the reason
See,
he
that
was,
might sound like something stupid that I'm saying just to make fun of people, but these are
that shit
real
people
quotes,
say.
real people.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And fuck the Knicks because the person
Just
he
like
was
the
reading
Knicks.
on was a Knicks fan.
They think the
No.
mango sentinel is the
No.
color.
Yes,
Sentinel.
that's the only thing. Sentinel looked like the Knicks colors. That's it. That's all there was.
Yeah.
People.
That's
Are silly.
And
that's
then when
no man.
Sentinel's getting beaten up, it's fuck the Knicks. That's it. There's no
I
extra.
actually,
That's it.
I hate. God damn it. So, I'm gonna try to say this story without naming names because it's pretty damning. But I had someone, good friend of Gibby's, descendant of Confucius, if you can figure that one out, actually tell me that Pringles was in reference to the person getting salty.
What?
What's the literary criticism levels of people trying to figure out what Yipes is saying?
Yeah, we're having a like people are having like metatextual debates on the wisdom of Yipes. He needs a book.
Yeah.
He's like an English class now, where it's like, write a paper on what Pringles means to you.
Yeah,
To you?
Yeah, exactly.
How does Pringles make you feel?
Okay, so baseball had Yogiisms.
Yeah.
Does the FGC have Yipesisms?
I think we all have Yaksisms, dude.
Can I
Like,
get
what
like?
was that one baseball player with that brilliant quote? Like, they don't think it be like it is, but it do.
Oh yeah.
We just need a book of those from Yipes, where it'll just be like Pringles, to make a man salty, or to pop and don't stop.
Yeah,
Which does it mean to you?
Can we just have like the rap genius for like like it's like what he meant by this is and it shows pictures and all that silliness. It's like oh okay.
Like Thug Notes with Yipe or some shit.
And, is it
And
just me
he
or-
said scoops in reference to ice cream because the combo was very creamy.
What would you say is Neapolitan creamy?
It is so flavorful. It is 3 flavors of creamy.
So it is
Oh,
Neapolitan sherbet.
Mm.
Indeed.
I see. See. Interesting.
Ah!
Why, if
Oh.
you're not exactly sure what these things mean, why do you repeat them? Why? Why?
That's
Oh,
the thing, man.
why?
Hey, let's do that shit.
Oh my
Dude,
god.
they read the Spark Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
People start saying everything. That's why people thought it was okay to say certain words they shouldn't have been saying
Yeah.
on Steam, and they weren't of a certain persuasion or ethnic background, but it was cool because the boy just said it on stream.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the whole stream monster kind of thing or whatever, where nobody thinks for themselves and they expect
The
certain
monkey
things of
see,
people.
monkey do, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like we were saying, Yash could be like potentially one of the best commentators out there. He could really step it up, but then he just has these people pulling him back, and he doesn't want to let people down to some extent. But at some point, you just be like, this isn't how things should be. Like, yeah, I can still do this, but not force it out because that's what people expect of me. Just whenever it's natural, being genuine. It's all
You know
about
what it
that.
is?
Yeah, but
He's Dave Chappelle. And Pringles is his I'm Rick James bitch.
yeah, it's like okay,
Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
plenty of jokes that are hilarious. It's like he's a silly individual, but it's nope. Everybody goes back to like one thing. I don't know. It's
Stay the line.
yeah.
It's like, who needs to be creative and timeless when you could just take one joke and run it into the ground so far that it ends up in China?
Mm-hmm. Look at The
And
Simpsons.
then it's funny because it's old.
But yeah, that's the
I
whole
just-
thing.
I just-
That's with me the whole advocacy of being a stream maverick, where you actually try and think of something clever and then don't have to have people repeat it a million times, and don't be disruptive or destructive. Just go out there.
Oh, you don't want to raise your dongles?
Oh my god. Literally,
Oh my God.
I wish I was a mod in every single chat just so I can permanently ban anybody that does that. Like
What does that mean?
okay, raise your dongers is because of Heimerdinger or Heimerdonger as people like to call him, and I'm a cutie pie from League of Legends fame, and for some reason some guy made a silly face in chat, raise your dongers, and it's like, yeah, I hope you get like hit by a bus in the morning, I don't want you to die. I want you to suffer. Like, please, just stop. It's not funny. It's so out of context.
Its usefulness.
Yeah, it's like You are saying it. You're just saying it. There's no context. It's like me going around and be like, chicken cross the street, or something like at the other side. Just like, why are you saying this? Why are you going around just saying things? There's no context. There's no joke.
Walking around going cat dog roundhouse.
Yeah, it's. Oh man, I really love that. I love these buzzwords. I'm gonna keep saying them. Hey, look, I'm gonna make comics with these funny faces that I saw on Reddit. I'm the best. Image macros. Those are called memes now. Like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Like,
Hey, can we just abuse the system of people just repeating everything they say and just create really stupid, nonsensical, meaningless jokes and just have them catch on and just like start going on to every level upstream and say, be like, oh, I bet Vaya doesn't like Pepsi. Just have that catch on.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a good idea because then people are gonna be like, "Wait, why doesn't like Pepsi?" Well, we gotta research this, and eventually there's just gonna be some smartass that makes up a story about it, and it'll be gospel truth.
Oh, you mean
Yeah,
the
it'll just turn into-
Jack store?
Yeah, it'll just turn into dogma afterwards, where it's like,
okay,
did you know that
Alex,
Vaya
okay,
actually
if-
used to work at a Coke bottling?
Yeah, back when he used to live in Georgia, he used to work for the Coca-Cola company, testing out new flavors.
He tried this one flavor and he really liked it.
I don't know.
He
That's
loved,
all
okay,
it-
basically, Vaya worked for the Coca-Cola company for so long that he loved Coke so much he just stopped dealing with Pepsi at all.
Yeah, why would you
to-
deal with Pepsi? This is how stupid memes start. You just create something completely meaningless and nonsensical. It's just raise your doggers. Hey, actually, don't try to equate this with goat that shit down because that's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goat That Shit Down is actually hilarious.
I would also say that we tried to do the Super Dragon thing, but everybody misheard what we were doing, and
Oh, sick.
It
It was kind of-
evolved
yeah.
into something offensive.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's not so much that everyone misheard what we were saying, is that Chris G tweeted something out saying that people were saying that we were saying something else that we didn't say, and other people were like, "Yeah, that is exactly what I heard."
Huh,
but
that-
then when I went back and listened to a stream, it sounded nothing like that.
Yeah.
You hear it's Super Dragon.
Yeah.
yeah.
God, that was
So-
such a great idea that turned into like a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, oh man. And also because of this crowd mob mentality, I'm gonna say something really offensive because everybody else is doing it. It's publicly
Like I said,
acceptable.
Yep.
Ugh.
Have a beer, my N-word friend.
Yeah.
Have a beer, my neighborhood friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this,
Love thy neighbor.
my ninja.
My ninja, it's like,
I really hate ninja.
I hate
it's like,
that
hey,
so-
Chris. We've been friends for some time now, and I hear you say this word. I think it's fine for me to say it now. And when I do say it, I think I'm going to go into my ethnic Latin background and just hit the R a little too rolly than I should.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck was that? Like, when did I ever give you the impression that it was okay to come up and call me a ninja?
Yeah.
You know?
But we're cool. We're boys.
Cool, right?
We're
With that whole
No, man.
slavery thing,
No, man.
it's in the past.
That's Chris's word. You leave it alone.
Mhm.
It's not even
No.
my word. I don't even like using it that much. I
No one
stopped
else
using-
uses Clarkinator. No one.
No one
just
else uses Parkinator. Just me.
Okay,
So-
so
Head in charge.
Do we even have anything else to talk about? Because I think we've definitely gone.
there's one
I'm
quick thing
surprised you-
I want to rant about.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. Alex, you might want to rant about it with me. So, there have been rumors floating around for the past few weeks that there's going to be a new King of Fighters game. It's going to be a 2D game done in 3D, similar to Street Fighter, the new Guilty Gear, and all that stuff. There's rumors about how it's going to play and stuff like that. So one of the rumors is it's going to be a throwback to King of Fighters 98 style of play.
Yeah.
Now, Alex, you and I have had a discussion about this the other day. People are saying that making it like 98 is dumbing down King of Fighters 13. It's a step down. King of Fighters 13 is so technical that turning it to 98 would be the dumbest thing they could do because it'll be easier for people to get into, a lower execution barrier and all this stuff. Alex, you've played King of Fighters 13 and you've played a bit of 98, and I've shown you some stuff in 98. Which game do you think is more technical and difficult?
Oh, well, sir, I'll have you know that 13 is a smorgasbord of techniques and styles and... This is some fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that you get from people that think that, like, Benny Mario's Infinite shouldn't be removed just because it's hard to do. Guess what, Jackoff? Anyone with 2 hours worth of execution a day can learn to do these things. I played against idiots that used to be able to do Makoto's 100% stun combos on Chun before those were discovered without incident. They could not block low to save their life. There could be a gun to their head, and I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna sweep you, and that guy's gonna get hit. These are the kind of people that think that dumbing it down is suddenly some stupid thing where you remove really dumb HD combos where some guy outplayed me with Shin because he ran up and did low B a billion times, misconfirmed it, got a fucking hookup because I didn't block 3 times in a row, suddenly takes my life out with a 100% combo because he was fucking hooked up with resources. Yeah, dude, you really fucking outthought me. It wasn't so much the times that I just kept you out of the air, kept you in exactly the same spot I wanted to on the ground with Ralph because I was so ahead of the game that you had no fucking idea what your options were, that you resulted to the only base stupid 100% combo that you had. Yeah, you really fucking used the techniques to outthink me, dude. Bullshit, asshole. You go to 98, and I want you to do any of the stupid hard execution that you think you've amassed in King of Fighters 13 and do it in 98. Doing low short, like doing low B, low A, super with Kyo took me a good 10 minutes to get down consistently. That shit is hard. This is not easy. This is not some fucking fancy technique that you've discovered by doing some lightning loops. Go kiss my ass. Just because something doesn't have these stupid billion-hit lightning loop combos does not make it any less smarter than the game you're playing right now. If anything, I would say low fucking hit combo games are way smarter. Smaller interactions. ST is a beautiful game because there's nothing in that fucking game that suddenly turns into a 90-hit combo with a laser coming into my ass.
Now, here's the thing, though. People say the long combos in King of Fighters 13 is what makes it difficult. Plus, it has a very high execution barrier. So, Alex, your execution, I've seen your execution in Third Strike. You have amazing execution. I've seen your execution in 98. Your execution's ass.
It's terrible. When I'm on point
go.
on Third Strike, I'm doing like dash cancel flash kicks. I can do
Yeah.
like the really stupid one-frame links off of super and the normals that shouldn't combo. There was like all those Shinsho links that I was doing, like getting normal throw into Shinsho on Dudley, and that's like a one-frame thing. And I was doing that. I tried to do low B, low A super with Kyo, and I suddenly just like, I'm seriously sticking my hands in the mud. It's hard. But suddenly people think that 13 with its wonderful easy billion hours to confirm HD cancels just makes it like a deeper and more, more enriching experience. It just doesn't gel with me. That's a really, really, really stupid idea.
Yeah.
Wait, are these? I just want to ask: are these the same people that said that King of Combat played like 98?
Probably not. I honestly don't know. I stopped listening to a lot of these people that talk about King of Combat because they keep trying to get me to play it.
Stop calling
But
it that.
no one's. I don't know what it's called. I want to call it the name you call, but that's not right to say.
Just say, well, just call it XDZW. That's way cooler.
I
Oh, I
forgot.
thought I was gonna say
Chinese
something
again?
Like, I was gonna say something like
Chuan
King
Do
Chong
Shiwan?
Chong.
Wow. Those two being you guys going at the same time just made that sound extremely racist.
Oh.
Yes, it did. So yeah, the reason I didn't go into that rant is because all I do is rant about 98 and how I personally feel it's better and the execution barrier is much higher than 13 and all these other games. Alex picked up 98. Like, how long ago did you pick up 98, Alex?
Well, I used to play it like very casually, but it wasn't until I started playing with you that you actually taught me like the ins and outs of like mechanics and the character tricks that I really started playing it seriously. So I would say maybe a couple months.
Okay, so KOF 13, like you picked it up. I watched you play just a few months after console came out. Like I watched you play at NCR. I was like, wow, this guy's actually pretty good. He's getting all this stupid shit down. Look at that. That's cool. 98. I was like, I'm watching you play. I'm like, he's not getting shit down. I'm just gonna do all this stupid shit on him, and he's not gonna do nothing. That's what happened.
That's what you do with every game.
No, I don't. I can't do that in Guilty Gear. Paul, confirm.
Yeah, you can.
See, so basically, people have it in their head that King of Fighters 13 is like the pinnacle of fighting games when it comes to execution. They think just because it's got a higher execution barrier than, say, Street Fighter 4, Marvel, Tekken, all this shit. I personally feel Tekken has a much higher execution barrier than KOF.
Yeah.
I also feel Guilty Gear has a higher execution barrier than KOF 13. Virtua Fighter, higher execution barrier than KOF 13. And I haven't played Skullgirls, but I'm pretty sure Skullgirls also has a higher execution barrier than KOF 13. KOF 13 has a lot of input buffer. KOF 13 has a lot of quote-unquote shortcuts and long cuts. Basically, you manipulate the game you trick the game into doing you do a different input, but something else comes out. But that's what you want it to come out. Which,
Hey, Gibby, I should
nobody's
cut you off,
actually
but you're
doing-
suddenly on location, dude.
Yeah.
oh, damn.
Like nobody's actually doing these inputs like straight out the booklet. These are definitely tricks that you use to make shit happen for you. Like a good
That's weird.
example is as Terry's rising tackle and a geyser, and that's definitely not done by doing rising tackle then quickly doing geyser.
Yeah.
Well, no, stuff like that's in a lot of fighting games. So I actually know people who charge down up punch and then go into geyser. I personally do down to back to up punch, then quarter circle forward punch.
Yeah.
To do that cancel, and that's how I taught a lot of people to do it. Same thing with Kim's blade kick in the Neo Max. But there are stupid things like, so you do half circle back down forward, you get DP instead of a command grab. So since the game buffers motions and it stores them for so long, you can't really do quarter circle forward punch into DP because you'll get super. So what do you have to do? You have to quarter circle forward punch, half circle back down forward punch, which is dumb. There are actually ways to get it with quarter circle forward punch DP, and you will get those two motions. But it's extremely difficult because you have to do it at the right frame. And on top of that, you have to do something that many KOF players have no idea about this. It's a secret technique. It's called setting the joystick back to neutral.
What?
Okay. When you do that, it actually cancels out a lot of your motions, and then you have enough time to do another motion, and boom, you won't get super. Now, you probably will get super if you don't go to neutral for too long. Or if you just don't go to neutral at all, you will get super for sure. But what a lot of people do to counteract all this, let me just do these here short bob cuts, and I'll do half circle back forward, and that'll just give me what is it? I think quarter circle forward, half circle back or some shit.
Yeah,
I forget these shortcuts because I personally don't use them.
I remembered them because I tried to do the Maxima one, and I realized I'm just better off doing the double half circles for his Neo Max. The thing I will argue with you though, when people like say that like, oh, Tekken has harder execution and Guilty Gear, that's all relative. I will say that there is a slightly higher barrier of entry for those type of games that have a lot of emphasis on movement, because movement in Guilty Gear is really important. Being stationary is a bad idea, and the fact that you have instant air dashes makes characters' aggressive options that much better. Tekken has crouch dashing for the characters that do have them. There's snake dashing. There's backdash canceling, which is really key for a lot of characters when you want to go in and out and poke people. Virtua Fighter, the same thing. 3D movement's really important. So these are a different barrier of entry. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily hard because that's always going to be relative to the person. Like I mentioned before, I played against a goober that could do 100% stuns without incident, but he couldn't hold down back. So execution is person per person. But to say that because a game has less options makes it less deep, I'm going to completely disagree because ST has been proving that fact wrong for almost 30 years now.
Yeah, I was about to say for like 2 decades.
I would honestly say that 98 has more options, but in 13, just everything's kind of truncated and given a usage, you know? Like they
characters.
They just like melded characters' moves together. It's like, oh, now this one's, you know, your DP, and even though you had 2 moves that could kind of do it at different ranges, this is just kind of your whatever. And then, you know, normals feel really terrible in 13 compared to 98.
I feel like it's just like, well, I don't want to rant too much about like normal balancing in 13, but I really feel like a big problem for people and thinking, like a lot of the reasons why people think KOF 13 might be the highest level of, you know, execution and whatnot in the current age, at least, is because they pick bad characters, you know? Like KOF is one of those games where you pick, you know, pretty much people you want. Some people play it and just pick like who they heard was good, and they just go autopilot, you know, karate, kyo, shen, whatever, right? And then there's some people who might, you know, go a little bit beyond that and pick, say, Kensu or some shit. And then they're just like, oh, I can't do shit with this guy, man. This game's hella hard. And I'm like, yeah, well, he doesn't have some of the better options in the game, man. Like, you know, you were fighting an uphill battle there. And there's a lot of characters like that in that game. There's not like a huge smooth curve. It's kind of steep.
Yeah.
Yeah, some characters' options aren't going to be immediately evident out the box.
No.
Like,
But
Kensu is going to take some time to explore. Characters like Max seem really limited, but then they have a lot of options in other places which some characters don't have. Like, he has really annoying tools once you actually get going because all of his normals are fast for how big they are, and he does a shit ton of damage with very little resources. But for the layman, he's just slow, clunky robot guy.
now, it's my main complaint with the normals in 13 is that they feel really stubby, so that they either trade or just get beat out. Where, you know, like I think I've heard the Japanese call it a grasshopper game, where it's like all you have to do is hop because you can't stop people from hopping for the most part because normals just aren't as strong. So
I
You have
think
to telegraph
especially
earlier.
now that we've moved on to consoles as the main way people play fighting games, combos are always going to be learned before footsies are. Because you're always going to have more time playing by yourself than you will playing with somebody else. And it's so hard, even in games with good training mode, to motivate to that level. Like, I need to set up a situation where he does this normal, I do this normal to see what wins. Doing combo training is so much easier than that. So even the hardest combos, you're going to get people who've been, because they like the game enough that they want to get better, they're just grinding training mode out. But then when it comes to actually playing people, they don't have footsies. So a lot of people think that KOF 13 is such a hard game, or is a really good modern game, because there are actually some pretty hard combos if you don't grind it out all the time. But for the people who are, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And 98 is so much more focused on reading an opponent normal for normal. Like, each button weighs more than in KOF until you have, full drive, full meter. Then in KOF 13, it means everything. But until that point, it doesn't mean shit. Because it's like, oh, well, as long as I get meter before the round's over, I can still win.
Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to bring up when I was talking about, or when we were talking about pokes and footsies. A lot of the KOF players that I talk to here in SoCal tell me I play Ralph all wrong. Because I stay far C distance. Like, if you watch me play on stream, I lose, yeah. But if you watch the way I play Ralph, it's really annoying for almost everyone that I fight. Because I keep them out, and they can't get in. People are telling me, no, you got to short hop CD a couple more, like some more to get in, and then you got to start using quarter circle forward C as your combo starter and block string starter and frame traps. And I'm like, but what I'm doing right now works. I interchange both, but they insist that poking is the wrong way to play the character. When Ralph, throughout King of Fighters, has been predominantly poking character.
Dude, his standing normals are so fucking annoying.
His standing normals are shit in this compared to the old games, but they're some of the best in this game.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's got
It's
some
like,
shit.
hey.
It's like the rainbow this, man. Shit.
It's just standing C with Ralph. It's like, if it hit crouchers in 13 like it did in 98, he'd be golden. He'd probably be the best character in the game. You just walk, it's like, hey, look, Flamey hopping. Whoop, don't give a shit.
Pow!
Islamic brings up a good point. But isn't Ralph a Street Fighter character stuck in a KOF game? No.
No.
Stab you.
No.
King of Fighters has generally predominantly been a lot about normals.
Yeah, up until 2K2.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Because people love the Cobb mocks.
Well, like the shit was like, everybody like in like at least like in 11, I wouldn't even say it was about specials or anything. It was more about like did your character have a really good hot D or some shit? Because then you could just do that shit forever.
That's what KOF 11 once again was also all about combos. Right when you get the first combo, okay, hit him with the first character. Time to tag out into Oswald and throw some cards at him.
Because Joker doesn't scale. Or, is it Ace?
Or you wanted to be the
Ace.
douchebag that fucking, it's like, you know what, I'm going to forego using Oswald because he's too cheap. Instead, I'll go with Gato and Tizok, and suddenly it's 100% stun. And you're dead. And now your next character's dead. And now your third character's
kill
dead.
you.
Guess what? I won off a hit.
Mhm.
Outplayed.
My dream cancel doesn't scale.
No, that was the greatest thing about that game.
Yeah.
It's like, what? This does 50% raw damage? Okay, and a combo? Oh, it also does 50% raw damage?
Now, I'm no math magician, but 50 plus 50 is 100.
Yes.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Kelly, you're there, right?
Yeah.
You're Asian. Is that right? Check my math for me.
I mean, it sounds reasonably correct.
Okay, excellent. So we have a
If
little
we're going with the standard theory.
Okay. So standard math. This sounds right. So 50 plus 50. So I got these two moves. That means they're dead. They just outplayed me. That's what I'm getting.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you definitely got outplayed.
I just suck. Like, that was my fault.
That's what you get for playing against that character.
Man, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that happens.
So,
But yeah.
Man, that
Anybody
just, like,
else
beats
got anything?
Everybody. Everybody's
Um,
depressed. You know?
what was it? Skullgirls Big Band was Tony.
Oh, it's just they've been showing off more of his moves. They've definitely got more of the art done. The raw sketches and whatnot. He, has like jumping symbol attacks, and he can play a bugle, and depending on what button you press is what note is being played. It's just like really interesting things. You definitely check it out. Salty Cupcakes on 86 Thursday nights, starts at 8:30 usually on Twitch. So it's he's being developed. Everyone, there's not much balance changes anymore. It's mostly just focusing on that, but I really find it really interesting how transparent that they've been about the development of characters in that game.
Yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, it's really neat to see how everything goes down and how they are playtesting everything. And it's honestly, I don't understand why more fighting game companies don't do stuff like that.
I'd love to do it. Like, I'd love to watch Capcom just turn up the invincibility knob on reuse DP. Be like, it's at 11 right now. Maybe at 12.
This is
There
what
we go.
Overthink is going with.
Time to go cash my check.
And obviously KOF 13 is now out on Steam if that's your thing.
Go
Do
play
not
it. It's
play
actually-
matches under 2 bars. Or below 3 bars.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Even
say.
that game, for all of its annoying HD combo faults, still pretty good and still pretty fun. Go play it.
Then Alex Under Night in Birth got a patch and it looks amazing.
It actually looks really fun now. So gone are the days of the billion hit touch of death combos that everyone's such a fan of.
Oh,
And
man.
the game has it's actually way more KOF now, where
Yeah.
there's a lot of focus on big normals and just kind of hopping around and poking at people with like what looks to be really satisfying normals. Kind of like ST or a Breakers type game where it's like, hey, I have really big button that does thing. Maybe I can go into combo if it hits. As
Oh,
opposed to the old, hey, I'm Lin and Hyde, and I'm just gonna run at you with crouching B until you die.
Yeah. At the same time,
Oh, man.
even though there's like obviously like a lot of more hopping and things like that, they actually changed it to where aerial normals aren't as good because some moves will just be invincible against aerials. They like a move that you would be able to trade or hit someone on the ground. You can actually, if they jump at you and try and do something, it'll just beat it cleanly. So that way, you actually get punished for jumping. But for smart jumping,
So it's
you
like
can
a crush system almost?
yeah, pretty much. Where a move that you have on the ground would normally get hit, but if someone's jumping at you, you could use it to knock them out, which is really cool. I think that there's definitely a presence of the aerial momentum, but at the same time, it's more of a footsie-based ground game that you want.
Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis, it seems now, like on the neutral game, and it seems like even with just meter dumping and just blowing all your resources in that game to land a combo, most characters aren't breaking the 50% mark. It's like somewhere around 4,000 damage, which on average is about just 40% of somebody's life bar, which I'm perfectly fine with.
I've
I'm
only
really
seen
big
that.
on-
Yeah, I've only seen that if someone has had 200% meter, which is full, and that's
Yeah.
only if they land like the 200 meter thing. Because like I think the most I've seen so far is maybe 4.5k, but generally things are generally in the a little bit below 3,000 to about 3,000 damage, which is
Yeah, like you're getting like maybe less than half life with full meter dump off like optimal opener. But
Yeah.
other than that, standard bread and butters are like 3,000, so maybe a third at the most, which I'm comfortable with. I really like moves or games where small hits can mean a lot, but they suddenly don't end the game for you.
yeah. It's
Well, that's great because that means like getting up to 5K again will actually mean some shit. Because
Yeah.
for a while, it just looked like if you weren't doing 5K, you were either playing fucking Lin or you were fucking up.
yeah.
So that was getting kind of ridiculous. Unfortunately, this also means it will be another month until we see a good Carmine again.
Actually, there's a few that are starting to really get the hang of new Carmine.
Sick.
A lot
You
of lockdown.
don't see that many hides, and you don't see that many Lins anymore, but there's more Merkava, there's more Waldstein. Gordo seems amazing now. And I actually think this topic on its own could just be its own show, so I'm just gonna stop
I
right
wanted to
there.
talk about this a lot earlier, but
Yeah, because you really want to mention Akatsuki.
yeah, but for another time, I suppose.
Any kind of news of a console port for that one?
Rumors of a possible PS3 release?
Yeah, and eventually they do want to release it on Steam at some point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Supposedly
After-
they
after
they're running
console.
Supposedly, they were actually running a tech demo on PS3, like at the last developer stream they were doing.
Yeah, when they were showing off the new character Chaos, they did that on a PS3.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of why I also apparently the game we're playing right now is Under Night in Birth, but we never got really to it. But until
Yeah,
next time, I
there's-
suppose.
Yeah. But just to answer a quick question, somebody asked me if there's a good zoning character. There's actually a few, and it's like the kind of style that you want to play. There's like a V13 throw swords everywhere with
Yeah, Batista.
Yeah, well, no, Batista's like the laser zoner where she just puts
Yeah.
like traps everywhere, and then
Like
there's
a
the
Mew.
yeah, a Mew type thing, and then there's I think Hilda is the one that
Hilda,
throws the
yeah,
shadow
Hilda,
swords.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's the new character.
yeah,
Oh
and then
my
the one I really want to play, Merkava, can also zone because he has a lot of obnoxious Dawson type normals.
There's a lot of really big normals in the game too. So because normally this is something I wanted to bring up, so I'll just do it real quick. So you know how there's been games that pretty much just been in 4.3 for the longest time, and then now with the next generation, everything's 16.9 or so. So everything's a bit bigger on the screen. So normals feel a little bit worse because there's just more to play with on the screen. But in this game, people's normals are huge, but at the same time, they're not incredibly dominating. But it feels good, like the way it looks, how people can keep you about half screen, but at the same time, you could still get in and hit them from half screen too. Like, for the most part, people's normals are just generally big, and I find that to be really interesting because it's a footsie-based game.
What satisfying normals?
Something I haven't felt in a while. Well, Sword Wars is pretty good. It's just I'm so bad at those kind of games.
I don't know. I feel like Yuzuhira was. I feel like her full screen pokes are kind of stupid. But,
Well,
you know.
they're really strong now still, but she's definitely gotten toned down to where she's
I think
not
they were
like-
stupid because they led into 60% health, which
Yeah.
you could just go fishing with.
And
As
then a
now,
mix-up after that.
yeah, where it was like, hey, get hit and die, and then oh, you guessed wrong, we'll die again.
Here
God.
comes the people's elbow.
I don't want to keep talking about this because I know we're just going to go on for another hour.
Yeah, so let's just walk away from it
Cut
for
the
now. We'll just
cord.
do this. We'll do this next week.
Come back next week for more Under Night talk, and probably some really dumb crap that nobody cares about. So, like to thank everybody for being here. Like to thank Hell Papa for showing up.
Yep.
Yep. And
The
we're
official
gonna
dad
do it.
sound.
We're gonna do it again next week, guys. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening and watching, whatever you do. So for the rest of the people here at Super Desperation Radio, good night and good luck.